Hey guys, welcome back to CK's Reef. This is the third installment of my videos on the weekly updates on this tank. So if you're just joining now, this is a 24-gallon Aquatop nano tank. It's got all the filtration in the back. And this week I made a lot of changes during the week that just passed. Not changes, but additions that are the next step into setting this tank up. So I'm doing a Fishless Cycle. So if you're unfamiliar with the Fishless Cycle, basically using ammonium chloride, and I'm using that to dose the tank as opposed to a fish breathing ammonia into the tank and letting food decay. This is a much more controlled cycle, I guess you could say, because I know exactly how much ammonia is going in the tank. I could monitor exactly how much bacteria has an effect on how fast it's breaking down the ammonia, and there's no variation in the ammonia in the tank. It's 2 milliliters to begin with. 2 parts per million, I should say, rather, to begin with. And this is Dr. Tim's method. And I just monitor the tank with the Seneye, which you see in the top left right there. And the Seneye monitors temperature, ammonia, pH, ORP. And that's pretty much all you need to monitor. I think that's all it does for now. And also, you could measure PAR and everything like that. But that's another episode. I don't have my light yet. So as of now, I put in the RODI unit. I set up my dosing pump. I got a power head to circulate the water. I am dosing bacteria, Nitrobacter 7. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to just walk you through the automatic water change setup that I have installed already. And my RODI unit, the plumbing, how I plumbed it to both the fresh and saltwater basins. And I'm going to give you an explanation of why I'm taking the steps in the order I am. So I'm a firm believer that if you can financially do it, or if you have the equipment already, that you should set up all your automated stuff as soon as possible, because then you could take the bugs out of it, number one. If there's any kind of bugs as far as the dosing, getting that right, obviously you're not going to be dosing any kind of supplements or calcium or alkalinity yet, but if you're going to do automatic water changes, you set that up right away, because then you can tweak it, make sure it's taking and putting the correct amount of water in the right ratio back into your tank. And it's one less thing as far as fluctuation of your parameters as you break the tank in. So that's what I did. So I'm going to go right now. I'm going to show you guys the setup, and afterwards we'll do a little conclusion, and I'll tell you what's planned for next week. Alright, so now you get to see the Jball dosing pump. There's 4 pumps in one, and it kicks on just as I said it. That's beautiful. And on the left you'll see my saltwater basin, which it's taking water from the saltwater basin and bringing it into the tank in this blue tube right here. And this is the return of the sump. And as you see, my water level here, it has that line there. And as it's returning water to the tank, it's also drawing water from the tank at the same exact speed. Pumps were calibrated, so the water level doesn't change as I do the water changes. So that's pretty cool. So I'm doing 1,320 milliliters a day, which every day over a week works up to about 2.5 gallons approximately. And that's 10% of the total water capacity of the tank. So I'm doing 10% water changes a week on an automatic water change system. And as you see my automatic RODI over there, I have it set up where it's split, where one line goes to the fresh and one line goes to the salt. That's salt, that's fresh. And I could fill it up without moving them. So it's very, very easy for me. And there's cutouts in the tops. So what I do is I have a circulation pump in the salt container. This is a 4.5 gallon salt container that you get with the neutral water. So I got it from the pet store. They gave me a couple of empties. And it's very low maintenance. So all I got to do is just throw in a set amount of salt, and I get my my salt water. And I fill it up once every 2 weeks is what it's going to be. And this is my top-off water. So the wastewater goes in here. And that's easy. You just pick it up and dump it out. Right now, this is only a 2.5 gallon little Poland Spring holder, but I'm going to get a 4 gallon, thin 4 gallon one off of Amazon. That way, it's, you know, equal to the amount of water I'm putting in. So I could empty that and fill this at the same time. So that's where I'm at so far. Tank is starting to come along. Should be fully cycled in a couple more days. I would say 3 more days. And that's about it. Oh, also, besides that, I also got an MP10, which I put on there for circulation. Right now, I just have it in the natural wave mode, so it just changes velocity, you know, randomly through the day. And that's it. So next week, what we're going to do is I have a protein skimmer coming along on the way. I should have it on Tuesday. So once I get the protein skimmer, the next step that I'm taking as far as setting this tank up before putting any livestock in it is I want to get a little handle on the pH. As the tank is cycling, the pH fluctuates. It's just natural. But once it goes through its initial cycle where you have a nice colony of bacteria in the tank, that's when I like to start to control the pH. So what I like to do is do what's called the recirculating CO2 scrubber on my protein skimmer. So the protein skimmer that came with this tank is very small. From what I hear, it works, you know, at average at best. So what I'm getting is a 60 gallons, rated for 60 gallon hang-on back protein skimmer, which has a much stronger pump, a lot better aeration, and we're going to set up a CO2 scrubber in next week's episode so I can control raising and lowering the pH. So initially, with it as a recirculating scrubber, it's going to drastically raise the pH. So we're going to control it by putting it on a tank controller, which is the following week's episode. We're going to get a Neptune Apex, and I'm going to show you guys how you can program your protein skimmer to turn on and off and control your pH through the Neptune with the recirculating CO2 media, and you can keep your pH stable whether it's night or day. So looking forward to that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for next week's episode, and as always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.